Hey, Matt, welcome to the show. As a way of getting started, give us a little background on yourself.
Sure. Thanks for having me, Brian. Um, so I'm based in Miami, Florida, originally from Baltimore, Maryland, um,
Really?
and I run two businesses, which you would think don't have much to do with each other, but there's some tie-in from one to the other. One is a live music entertainment company. It's called MHW Live Music, and our clients are luxury hotels. We have them all around the country: JW Marriott's, Waldorf Astoria's, that sort of thing, and we do the entertainment programming. If you imagine a luxury hotel, they'll have every Thursday, Friday, Saturday night in the lobby, that sort of thing, and um, so that business was rolling along pretty good before COVID, and then all the hotels shut down on March 15. Um, and I started another business. It's only been about 6 months, as kind of an outgrowth of the sort of little sales engine that we had created for MHW Live Music. I I said, well, I had a really good um, appointment setter who was doing cold calling, prospecting for me, and I would come in and give the presentation to a director or VP level person at the hotels, and so I said, well, this isn't just specific to live entertainment. There's got to be all kinds of businesses that could use some help with prospecting and filling the top of the sales funnel.
Yeah.
And so in the last 6 months, we're up to 14 clients, got some software companies. We have 3 universities as clients. I can tell you about that. And anyway, this new business, it's called Wiggler Group, where we're doing this prospecting activity, is off to an amazing start. So
Congratulations.
yeah, thank you.
What was it like? Was it scary?
Well, what happened was, I mean, it was very abrupt on March 15th when, really from one day to the next, all the hotel clients that we had called and said, you know what, we're shutting down, like all at the same time. And so for 2 or 3 months, I was sitting there thinking, well, I don't know what to do. And one day I think I was, watching too many episodes of The Walking Dead on Netflix or something. And I said, no more of this. Got to get something started, because the hotels, by the way, have started to come back.
Have they? Good.
So that's actually still on a good trajectory. But I said, you know what, let's go out there and start this new thing. And so not really scary, just I had to give myself a kick in the butt to, get it going.
And so how did you start? Where did you start?
So it sort of started by accident, because um, I have a partner who runs the entertainment business, and so I'm not really involved in a lot of the day-to-day operations. So everything shut down, and so he was still doing a little bit of work as the hotel started to reopen. And I said, well, I stopped being able to pay myself, after that period. And I said, well, let me go out and see if I can, you know, find some sort of maybe sales consulting sort of role, or something I can do as a contractor. Um, so I still have some independence, but where I can make some income. And I ended up getting the first client for this Wiggler Group business, which was a software company, also trying to sell into the hotel market, interestingly. So that was a good tie-in. And I realized, wait a minute, they not only needed some help in this sort of the actual sales presentations and how to frame it and draw out the pain points of the customers and all that. But that's sort of the high level or high value activity, but also the just generating the list of prospects and reaching out and booking the appointments. And so then I just said, all right, let's see if we can do this appointment setting thing for other clients. And lo and behold, of course, there's a lot of large companies that might already have a process like this in place, but a lot of these small and medium businesses, are kind of fumbling around in the dark, is what I'm seeing.
They are. And, I see a lot of reps who either got laid off or downsized or whatever. And I'm like, either go on Upwork
Yep,
or just, you know, call up a VP of sales and say, I'll get you some appointments. I'll get you some demos.
absolutely.
Give me the leads that your reps don't have time to follow up on, and let's have some criteria, because everyone has this need. And do they want to spend their time doing it because it's a shift, a focus? It's not easy. It requires dedicated, focused time, and it's a skill.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
It's
what's the staff look like today?
so the staff today, we're up to 13
Wow.
employees.
Yeah.
So we have two managers in addition to myself that manage the clients, and we have, actually, this is exciting. This is kind of a milestone. Is she's actually giving her first solo sales presentation as we speak right now. My third manager, who has just stepped into the role of actually, giving the presentations on Zoom.
Yeah.
And then the rest are I call them outreach specialists, who do this role of the prospecting and appointment setting. But what you said is exactly right. I mean, this is something where even in a strange or bad economy like what we have now, when we call and we say, look, here's how we can provide value, fill the top of your funnel. Everybody needs that and everybody wants that. So now it's just a question of, if we can establish that, yes, we can do it in such a way that the cost per lead is, worth it. People are, very excited about it.
Right. And I think as a company, you have the ability to be creative, as opposed to the employees who are given the cadence and the outreach tools and everything. And
sure,
depending on how well it's done, it works a varying level ability. Well, what are most clients asking for?
As far as what goals do they have, or
like what's expectations that are realistic?
Sure. So that's a really good question. I mean, because just as much, it's this better than I do. It's like you get on the meeting with someone, and we're qualifying each other in both directions. They're trying to see if
you're capable,
if we're capable, but I'm also trying to see, wait a minute, is what they're expecting, first of all, is it on planet Earth?
Yeah.
And also, can we accomplish it? So the types of clients that I'm seeing really work so far are, if you have a really large customer lifetime value, at over 100,000, but it could be over $1 million, or you're going after these big deals and they take a long time to progress and to close, but it allows us to align the sort of time horizon or the expectation. So we'll say, look, if we brought you one good meeting in a week, which is what I'm usually shooting for one rep or one outreach specialist. And if you took 50 qualified meetings, and also these smaller businesses are not used to taking 50 qualified meetings in a year. So this is really exciting. If they're going from 5 to 50, people say, yeah, that's going to pay for itself, because one deal should pay a good return on what they would pay us even in the whole year. So that's sort of the type of alignment that I'm seeing is working.
Because I talk to reps all day, and that's kind of what they're getting, especially cold outreach, not warm inbound, not referral, not existing customer. And they're paying a lot of money for that rep.
Absolutely.
Plus all the benefits and the overhead.
Yep.
And the management.
Well, you're speaking my language, or taking that you're
yeah,
that's exactly what I tell people is, look, first of all, if you think about if the rep internally is a real expert on the product, and if they are really good at giving a demo, giving a presentation, doing those activities which are closer to closing, which are further down the funnel, First of all, they're not going to do the top of the funnel activities because they're going to work on the deal that's closest to closing, right? If they're making a commission. So that, you end up with this lumpy revenue situation. It's just, my whole thing is, why not collaborate? Because my people are not going to give your presentation because we don't know enough about your product.
Right.
But one thing I've, and I hadn't been in this business before, but it's kind of fascinating how, how quickly I and all of us are learning about this is, we have to understand what we're talking about. We have to understand what's the pain point, what's the solution. But the outreach is very analogous across all the products. We don't have to know every little detail. Once we get to that level, we hand it off to the internal person.
Right. You got to find the right people, find out where they are in the awareness of that problem. Is it active pain? Is it latent pain? And what's their curiosity about it? And, because most companies are solving this with the sales development rep model, which, can work, but only seems to work when there's a brand and when there's inbound. Cold outbound doesn't really work because the managers are just kind of pounding them with numbers, KPIs. And that's like trying to find a needle in a haystack. The needle's in there. Behind all that stuff is a pony, right?
Exactly.
But and those people, they have to want to do that. It's grinding, it's heartbreaking work.
It is. It takes a special personality to do that all day, every day.
Right.
There are people that love it, but they're not the same people that are it's not like me. Like, I love doing what we're doing and we're talking and getting to know each other. And, if I get on a sales presentation, I like to, figure out what their goals are and this relationship stuff. It would be demoralizing to me to make 100 calls in a day and only speak to one person. However, there are people that get a kick out of it.
And that's one way to do it. I like to have the model of a detective. Okay. There's 1,000 people, who's most likely to be interested? And what's that persona look like? Because I love like detective shows. And I've gotten to the point where I can turn the volume down and figure out who did it. Right. Because it's either the husband or the wife.
Right.
And the show tries to point you in a bunch of different directions. But if you can build that skill, that curiosity in those people, because the best reps, I hear the same thing. It's like, I could spend my whole day doing this, but what I do is I find the people most likely. And I engage with them. Have you found that persona, or is it really the dials and the emails and the pounding?
So, and this is something actually that, I follow the content. I've been putting into place a lot of the content that you put out, actually. And so some key things that, and I'm not just saying this because I'm on the show with you. This is really true. There's been a couple of key things that I've seen from you that I've tried out and they've worked. So there's your evidence. One thing is that, our clients don't care how many dials we make. So as far as I'm concerned,
they want the one meeting.
They want the one meeting. So I'll tell my reps, look, yes, I think that you have to make you have to work. You have to work. You have to work a certain number of hours. You can't wait until Friday at the end of the day and expect it to happen, right? But theoretically, don't tell anybody I said this, but theoretically, if you could pick up the phone and make one call and book a meeting with the senior vice president at, Fortune 500 company, that's a dream wish list thing for our clients. Everybody's happy. But so what I did is we set up our reporting and performance metrics, where the only thing, which isn't a big, bold, large thing that they fill out, is how many meetings did you book today? How many meetings did you book on your shift today? And yes, we're keeping track of the number of calls they make and all that, but it's so far down the list that it's making it clear that, look, we're really focused on this goal. You know, if you make 1,000 calls and don't accomplish the result, they're not paying us per dial. You know, we're not a call center. We're, you know, we're going after a very specific goal. And so since we implemented that sort of rearranging of the reporting in such a way that everybody knows, hey, there's only one thing that's going to make me look good in front of the whole team, and that's producing the result. The results have gotten significantly better. It's very interesting.
Well, that's it, because the detective, you know, the detective's boss cares about finding the criminal. Does, you know, yes, wants them to interview people, wants them to analyze the fingerprints, wants to talk to a lot of people. But at the end of the day, if they don't find the criminal, the chief of police is in trouble.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So we are the detectives. It's
Yeah.
like, so you can canvass what I call being the census taker, go door to door of every person, but you very quickly realize who's most likely to have committed the crime.
Yep.
And the same is true with sales. Because you start to think, it's like, okay, they've got to have this level of income. They probably have bought this type of product before. They typically at this company a certain length of time. They care about these things.
Yep.
And if you can find that person who can start a conversation, that's magic.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. You know, so that combination of you know, the rep or the outreach person being that detective focused on that goal. But then the other thing, which already I've made some of these as mistakes and I've done some exactly the right way, is, you know, the way that we'll engage with a new client. And this is, you know, I'm curious what you think about this. I mean, there is a pretty wide range with respect to the clients, whether it's a founder, CEO of a smaller business, or whether they've got enough structure that there's a VP sales in place and all of that. But some people really know who their qualified buyer is, and they can define that thing like, you know, just, it's a very detailed. That's what we want because it makes the job easier. Yeah. Some people,
they don't know,
don't really know. And it's very challenging to go fishing in a open ocean without them knowing who their qualified buyer is.
Yeah. And sometimes you want to walk away from that because what they're thinking is that meeting is going to turn into a deal immediately, and it's like, no, it's a first date.
Yep.
Because you're like a matchmaker.
Yep.
Right. And if somebody's, well, I just want somebody who's interesting, well, that doesn't tell me anything. It has to be, you know, this age, these interests, this personality type, this background, as close as you can get to that bullseye. Because then the meeting, even if it doesn't come out well, it'll be like, that was what I asked for.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. And how have you found it as far as recruiting? What do you look for?
That's also a good question, because we have tried hiring a couple of people who were a little bit more experienced on the spectrum of maybe people that had done a B2B commission-based sales role in the past, and they had given presentations, and I've learned that that's not it. If they're, you know, that person who wants to do the sale, the actual closing of the sale, the presentation, I haven't found that so far to be the role. It's more of somebody who, it is the detective, by the way. I think you're exactly right. And it's somebody who, you know, they have to really like to talk to people and have this positive, very resilient attitude, because they will get rejected. But, you know, it's the kind of person that, okay, if you can get a live call, if you can get somebody to pick up the phone on the other end, it's a little more challenging now that everybody's working from home, I guess, because, you know, if
cell phones and
well, you know, if you can get somebody on the other end and establish some sort of positive rapport and relationship, and they're not doing that much talking about the product because we don't know that much depth about the product. But establishing that relationship, identifying that yes, there's a fit here, figuring out if they're not the decision maker, have I developed the relationship enough that you'll introduce me or be kind of a champion for me to the decision maker, and that they're just kind of doing that initial relationship building or matchmaking.
Yeah. And have you found a particular either previous profession or something on their resume that kind of screams that?
We've got a few people that worked in kind of not so nice call center environments that were really happy to do this because it's a more pleasant experience.
Yes.
Look, we're not counting your dials. Yes, you have to show up on time because
it's work.
Of course, it's work.
It's a job.
It's a job. But everybody's working from home, and we're in. It's interesting because people, we've hired some very, very nice ladies that came out of these call centers, and the complaint or the thing that they didn't like about the old job was, the managers breathing down their neck about how many dials. They're not really encouraged to establish relationships. I tell them, look, if somebody on the other end wants to talk to you for 45 minutes about their dog and their wife and their vacation, great, because that means when you call them back and their boss is in, you'll get the meeting.
Yeah.
And so, that's one profile. That the question you're asking is one of the most critical things in this business, and it's definitely still a work in progress.
Right, because I see a lot of people in your space hiring people like right out of school, and they really have never talked on the phone.
Yeah.
Because that is a foreign thing to a lot of people.
Yeah.
They text and they're social at parties with people they know, but approaching strangers isn't something that they're familiar with.
Yeah.
Anything out of like either retail or the services, bartenders, waiters, waitresses, anybody like that?
Hospitality, I do think, is a good qualification.
Yeah.
We brought on a great manager recently who was a food and beverage manager at Four Seasons hotels.
There
and
you
I
go.
said, that's a great qualification.
Yes.
It's this dealing with upset people from time to time and knowing how to navigate that is very important, and providing this very high level of, good customer service and being friendly. And so, I think, hospitality is one that I also knew a lot of people from hospitality already from the other business. And I think that is a good qualification.
Yeah, because it's face to face. You have to smile when you don't feel like smiling.
Yep.
You have to take some guff when you didn't earn it or deserve it.
Yep. Oh, totally. And
Right.
and be okay with it.
Be okay with it. Yeah.
Let them be right. You know what? You're dead wrong, but I'm going to let you be right anyway.
Yeah.
And that's
Because
a good
people
skill.
Are very touchy about their food, their drink.
Yes.
They've been traveling, they're exhausted, the room isn't ready or whatever.
Yep.
And it's not your fault, but it's the situation.
That's right.
Yeah. How about anybody who's like really good online? Is a lot of your business LinkedIn and social, or?
So this is, I think you might appreciate this too. We're doing a throwback to we're doing it the old-fashioned way.
Yeah.
Yes, we're using good data. We're using Zoom Info to get the cell phone numbers, and we're getting the right data. But we are doing this as a human to human business. We're picking up the phone, we're leaving a voicemail, we're trying to really get a live call with them. It's not automated, it's not LinkedIn based, it's really person to person.
Yeah.
The email communication is obviously important because some people it's hard to get them to pick up the phone, but the whole point of sending them an email reminder is to eventually get them to pick up the phone. And the the reason that I really like this is because, well, first of all, I think that the world of, people are spending so much money on digital. I mean, the amount of money that gets dumped into LinkedIn, it's unbelievable. The cost per lead is very high that people pay on there.
Yeah.
And when I'm presenting to a potential client, people seem to find this very refreshing. I had a guy the other day say, you know what, I've had other vendors that do different types of more technical automated things. And he says, I like this because I understand what you're doing. You're just one human picking up the phone, talking to another one. And I said, yeah, okay. It's kind of refreshing. At least it works for my personality.
And do you want to continue with this long term, or is this just a bridge type company?
No,
or?
this is, this business is already larger than the other one was. That one is still rolling, and I think after COVID is going to be a good small business, but I want to grow this thing to have 1,000 reps. I want to turn it into a big company. Yeah.
And who's your ideal customer?
So, enterprise software is a good customer. A VP of sales of a, we have some supply chain software. We have some software clients that are in the medical healthcare industry where they're selling to medical practices and that sort of thing. And anything like that, which is a big deal size, a sticky relationship with a long customer, a large customer value, lifetime value, and where, it's this situation where if you have a VP sales, or if it's still the founder, doing the business development, these people don't want to sit around doing the prospecting activity. And so it's a great collaboration. So that's kind of the software side. We have a couple of media and advertising agencies. It's exactly the same thing. These are $1 million deal sizes, and they don't want to do the prospecting. And then this came in coincidentally, but it's a great market. We have 3 of these so far. We have 3 universities so far as clients, and we are recruiting executive MBA candidates for the business schools at the universities, which, if you think about it, is exactly the same process and the same pain point for the internal staff, because it's kind of an alternative to showering people with LinkedIn messages, which is oversaturated. Right. And we're doing this for the universities.
And is your team highly distributed, or are they centralized?
Everybody's working at home, and all around. I have two partners. One is also here in South Florida. The other one's in New Mexico. Everybody is all over the place. The good thing is that the talent pool is unlimited.
It is.
We've created a structure where we really make sure people are accountable, show up on time, hit their goal of booking a meeting every week. But I love it because we're not limited to just a 30-mile radius around Miami, for example.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Hey, it's been a fun conversation. Where can people go to connect with you and learn more about your company? And feel free to give a pitch for either employees or clients.
Sure. So the website is Wigler, WIGLER group.com, wiglergroup.com. And all of my contact information is on there. So I say to people, especially for people that want to do the rep or outreach specialist job, the best qualification is if you pick up the phone and call me, right? Because that's what you
prove your skill.
Because the number's right there. Yeah, exactly.